Imagine you're riding your AC bike and you feel some play in your chain, or you hear some metal scraping coming from your flywheel. We're going to talk about a couple adjustments that you can make to resolve these issues. So let's take a look here. We've removed the chain guard cover just so we can better expose some of the insides of the machine, so it'll better explain what exactly you'll be doing when you're making some adjustments. So as you can see here, you have the main axle that goes through both the flywheel and connects to the chain on this side. When you make some adjustments here in both of your tension screws, it forces that axle to do this movement. But if you make too big of an adjustment on one side, it will force that axle to do this angle, which can create some tension and extra rubbing and grinding noises coming from your chain and your drivetrain area. So when you're making these adjustments, make sure that you make very small and fine movements and that you do them at the same time. So let's talk about what we need to do to make a chain adjustment. First thing you'll need to do is you have two flywheel nuts. You're going to go ahead and loosen those. Next, you can see here we have both of our tension screws. Using a 3mm Allen head key, you're going to go ahead and loosen both of those adjustments. And I would say do one full turn on both sides at a time. That way, again, your adjustments are the same. And you want to do this several times, and then go ahead and spin your crank and get a feel for how the chain feels. You will feel potentially some rough spots or some more play, and I can feel a couple in there. So I'm going to make an adjustment to both of these pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten up the chain a little bit. And again, I'm going to do both these movements at the same. You'll also notice by doing these adjustments at the same time, it will keep the flywheel centered between our braking mechanism. If you rotate one too much, it will change that axle which the flywheel is connected to here, which could cause it to turn to an angle, which will create some of that rubbing and scraping sound we were talking about with the brake. So just by changing the tension on the chain and making sure your flywheel stays center, takes care of both of those issues. So again, I'll do another full turn. Another full turn. So we're a little bit tighter than we were before. So I'm just going to make a check. Very minimal sound. It does feel a lot smoother. So now one of the checks that we want to do is we want to check with our crank in various clock positions. So currently I'm at noon. I'm going to make a couple rotations to feel for any tight spots or any loose play. I don't feel any. So we're good from the noon position. Let's go ahead and go to 3 o'clock. Feels good. Again, no rough spots or any free play. From 6. Feels good. And lastly, 9 o'clock. Feels great. So we've made the adjustments on the chain. One last thing you want to do is take one more half turn on the drivetrain side, just to make sure that tension is nice and good and tight, because the chain will be new potentially. We want to make sure to make that adjustment. So now I've adjusted my chain tension. I'm checking to make sure my flywheel is down the center of the braking mechanism. It is. It's not at an angle. I've moved my pedal to make sure we have no excess grinding or sounds, no free play. So now I can go ahead and finish up by tightening my flywheel nuts. After completing that tightening, the adjustments have been made. Your chain tension's good. You have no metal scraping from the flywheel, and that's how you complete that process.